Mr. E.
Welcome back. This is our third live streaming at Oatland Island Wildlife Center. We're missing you. Mr. E, why are they not here?
We're so sorry that you can't be on our property, but we're shut down to the public right now. We still have staff on site taking care of the animals and giving you a behind-the-scenes look at some of our animals so you can get your questions answered and get a close-up look. Even though you can't be here in person, you can come here digitally and have a little field trip with us.
And we're 6 feet safe. You
Yeah,
see,
somewhere around.
put it up there.
No, I don't want to.
Come on, no, 6 feet. Okay, we're keeping our distance from each other. And I hope you are too. Help everybody help out. All right, so today, like we told you yesterday, we are joining our eagles, Arnold and Francesca. I'm not sure if you can see them really well up there, but they're up there in the nest box. Mr. E.
Yeah,
Arnold
and Francesca are what we call a pair bonded group of eagles. So they are together as two individuals, a male and a female, and this is how you would find them in the wild. Those pair bonded individuals are kind of like that power couple that we talked about before. They're going to be taking care of a certain territory, they're going to be protecting that territory, and they're going to be raising their young there. We're having our little red-shouldered hawk chime in, so if you hear that in the background, we apologize. She's a little bit broody right now. She's sitting on eggs of her own. Our eagles actually were recently sitting on eggs. These are unfertilized eggs, so they'll lay them just like a chicken would, and they'll incubate them just like a chicken would, and then we remove them once we feel a safe distance has passed for them. So they are a very, very special pair for us. Francesca actually is one of our oldest residents at Oatland. She's been here since she was, what, 20?
No, she came
was like
in
1992.
1992.
So she's like, what? Do the math.
2020.
2020?
1992.
28. Hopefully you guys do that mental math with me. So yeah, they've been here for a long time, and they're here because they're non-releasable birds. So they've been deemed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and by Georgia DNR that they cannot be released. You can say hi to people.
We gotta say hi to people, but Eric talks a lot. So we're gonna say hi, Lucy! And then some people you know, Eric.
Lincoln and Lane. Where's Lando at? Where's Luna? And my mama, of course.
Hi, Marsha. How's it going? Thanks for joining us live today at our Eagles. So I'm gonna get you guys all to get up and move your body a little bit. So we're gonna do, our first thing we're doing is we're gonna do a little bit of yoga and in honor of the Eagles. So everyone take your arms out, and you're gonna take your right arm and put it underneath your left arm, and then cross them and grab your hands like this. Okay, so this is gonna be where we split our vision like an eagle. Now we're gonna take our left leg, we're gonna pick it up, and we're gonna wrap it around our right leg, and we're going to be in what's called eagle pose. Okay, now you gotta do the other side too. So unwrap, and then we're going to do the opposite. Pick up your right leg and wrap it around and squeeze it into the middle, and then look between your hands, and you're splitting your vision because eagles have double phobias. They can focus at two places at once. Eagle pose. Good job. Got some exercise today, but get more. Go outside. It's a beautiful spring day today after our program. Luna and Mom here too.
Oh, great. Luna and Alicia, of course. Thank you for tuning in. We are super, super excited to get these awesome questions answered. So first off, what do they eat?
Sarah. Sarah asked that question.
Sarah asked, what do they eat? Really, really, really basic diet. When you think about eagles as a fish eagle, that's going to be their primary diet. They're going to be around water almost all of the time, seeking out fish as the main part of their diet. That being said, young eagles actually are a lot of times carrion eaters, so they're going to eat a lot of different dead animals, maybe even get hit by cars, and that might be why some of our eagles are here today and injured because of those wing breaks and things from a car collision. The other thing that they eat is small mammals, and they're going to eat reptiles and amphibians, of course. And anything that they can get their talons wrapped around, they're going to eat, especially when they're small and not as good hunters as an adult.
I gotta say hi to Trisha, Maura, and Ian, my friends.
Oh, and Maisie's tuning in too.
And Maisie and Kara are here too. Thank you so much. Trisha and Maura and Ian want to know, how long do they live in captivity? Ooh, a good long life in captivity. So, well, Arnold is like, or no, Francesca is like 28. So we can live a little bit longer than that. It's about 30, I think, is in captivity.
Yeah.
You know, but there's records. That's an average. And in the wild, obviously not as long, because life is a little bit harder living on the wild, hunting, gathering. And then there's another question from Faustina. How long does it take for the eggs to hatch? Ooh. Have you guys been watching eagle cams?
There's lots of them out there. And if you follow the different regions where it's warmer, the eaglets have also almost moved out, and if you go up colder, they're just starting to. So really cool to see that range difference within our country.
34 days for the eggs to hatch. About a month.
Just over a month, yep.
But you have to remember that 90% of the time it's the female sitting on that egg.
Yeah.
And she is sitting on that egg for 30 days pretty much straight. So talk about quarantine. They're the masters of it. So we can all channel our inner eagle during nesting season. Hey, it's Elise. Is that our Elise? Zader? Hey, Zader.
Oh, easy.
How's it going? We miss
nice
you.
To see you.
Good to see you.
What was the age thing is the thing that trips me up though, because when we think about it, a young or a smaller hawk can live 25 to 30 years. And usually as you get bigger in your eagle or hawk size, they live longer. So I think, maybe we have to fact check ourselves, but I think 30 is like the average age.
Yeah.
And they can get to be like 70 or 75-year-olds sometime in captivity. So we're hoping, because we're giving good veterinary care, that Francisca lives much, much longer.
Yeah. Good questions coming in so far, you all. Thanks for joining us today at our eagle exhibit. Melissa wants to know, what do they like for enrichment?
Yeah. So they'll get, for enrichment, these guys will get not necessarily things that they want to tear open, like maybe our vulture or some of our other animals, but they're just going to get prey items. So basically we'll get them a fish, and they'll put it out there when it's nice and cold, and they'll be able to tear into it and be able to get that really cool frozen little fish popsicle and tear it apart, and that activates their brain and gets them thinking about how they would interact in the wild.
And related to a question from Alicia, they might get enrichment from a wild bald eagle or plenty of animals that fly over and check them out. So there's a lot of enrichment going on here. But Alicia asked, do they fight for territory?
Yeah, so we recently, this early spring, late winter, have had 3 different bald eagles come into Oatland with different injuries from fighting. The males will actually fight each other for territory and lock talons and drive each other into the ground. And that's kind of a show of dominance, and then they'll take over that territory. And then they'll also fight over territory once a young juvenile kind of ages out and gets that white head, because they start off with, a blackish head, and then they transition to a white head. And when that happens, that eagle has to find its own territory, and they get beat up a lot when they're really young. So they definitely fight for territory, and it's happening more and more. And you might think that's a horrible thing, but we think it's a really great thing, because that means our population is going up, and that's a really, really positive thing.
We're gonna say hi to Kirsten and Megan. How are you all today? Thanks for joining in for us. Eric, we have our fact checkers in the back. We have 50 years in captivity.
Cool. Awesome.
And up to 20 to 30 years in the wild.
Perfect.
Okay, Mahika. Hello, 10 years old. How big is their wingspan? Okay, so I'm 65 inches, 5'5", and it's at least 6 feet wingspan, like 72 to 80 inches, something
about
crazy
me.
like that. So that's a pretty big wingspan, isn't it? It's pretty big.
About as wide as mine.
Taller than I
So I'm
am.
about 62, 61 feet.
Hi, Leslie. Dr. Mailer is watching
Leslie.
us. Hi. Awesome. Dr. Mailer, if you can chime in anything you want to add, please do. We'll add it to it. Awesome.
She's a wealth of knowledge around
Yes,
these guys.
she is. Bald eagles are raptors. Yes, indeed. And those in my Taller Tuesday class might know my song. A hawk, an eagle, they're all raptors. Yes, indeed. 3 things that make them be.
Great.
Can you guess the 3 things? Write it in. Tell us what 3 physical attributes makes a raptor. Different from any other kind of birds. Okay, raptors, now don't just say they eat meat, because a lot of birds that aren't raptors eat meat too. So we gotta think about that. Grady and Bennett! Hi, I hope you guys moved yet. Are you still here?
Tyler Tuesdayers.
Yeah. All right, we'll come back to you. Guys are gonna give us the answer. 3 things that make a raptor, okay? We'll come back to that. We're gonna talk about, Delaney wants to know, can Francesca have babies?
Yes. It's always possible. They haven't been altered in any way. eagle reproduction takes really good balance, and because they have broken wings and injuries and they're not flighted, they don't have the greatest balance. So it's always possible, but it hasn't happened yet. And they have been laying eggs for several years, but we haven't had viable eggs that would turn into a baby eagle.
Hi Theo, hi Cecilia, hi Diana. Hope
Whoa.
y'all are doing well. Darby wants to know how they fly, like this.
Yeah.
Okay, soaring, soaring. Put your soaring wings out.
Yeah.
A lot of
So
soaring.
you
Say
can
hi to
imagine,
Bird.
right? Our wingspan, an eagle has a wingspan like me, and you attach a bunch of feathers to it. You take all of my whole entire wing, you fill that up with feathers, increase that surface area, give me a big, long, flat wing, and then you also take all my bones and get all the stuff out inside of my bones, take all of my weight,
He means hollow.
sunk it down,
Make them hollow.
and then
Light.
you are really, really, really light. And because you're really, really light, you can take off from the ground. So flight is really interesting. We have lots of animals that glide, lots of animals that jump, but flight means you have to be able to, with your own energy, take off from the ground.
So eagles and all birds have a special sternum. That's their breastbone right here, and you probably have had it when you eat a chicken or turkey. And they have a keeled sternum. So if you know what a boat is and a keel of the boat, okay, the bottom of the boat, it's this bone that kind of sticks out and it allows muscles to attach. So when they take off from the ground, they get a big old pop and get that body up into the air. And eagles are heavy, Eric.
Yeah.
How heavy is she?
Yeah, so Francesca's probably around 8 pounds. Arnold might be closer to 6, maybe somewhere in that range. That's kind of the average for, they're talking to us. That's kind of the average for eagles in the southeast. If you go up higher, you might get larger and bigger eagles because of Bergman's law. It's a really cool scientist that found that as you go through a population, the more you go towards the poles, the higher the weight goes. So up in Alaska, we might have eagles that weigh 10 pounds.
Ooh, they're big.
But the females always weigh more because they have to be stronger. They have to do that incubation that Michelle talked about, stay on the nest, be able to keep those babies nice and warm.
And bully the boys.
And they also have to bully the boys a little bit.
That's my talent.
And push off the territory, yeah. Make sure that they're in charge of their space.
Hi, Pam. Pam K.
Pam
Thanks
K.
for joining us. We miss you. And
Right,
Raylyn.
Raylyn.
Hi, Raylyn. Okay, we got all kinds of answers coming in. Good job, my friends. Hooked beak.
Oh yeah, hook beak.
See them? See that little sharp hook hanging down? Sharp talons.
Yeah.
Nice. Eyes on the side of the head. I would say more front facing.
Yeah.
Even though they look like they're on the side, they're actually a little bit wider than ours. But that gives them stereoscopic vision, binocular vision, 2 eyes in front. But eagles have extra special eyesight. Like you may have been said you had eagle eyes or hawk eyes. It just means you can see really far, see really well. How much farther can they see than us? It's kind of, I mean, it's, you know.
Yeah, on average, we think of them as being able to see a greater distance, being able to focus a greater distance. So like at a binocular level, maybe 10 times, maybe 8 to 10 times better than a human. They're really, really, really good at vision, right, for movement, but they're also really good at vision for computing. So a lot of their brain is all focused on vision and how vision works. So
Amazing. So in order to have all that brain space for vision, they lose other sensory like smell and hearing and such like that. Or they can hear, don't get me wrong. But no, not a sense of smell.
no, they wasted all their brain space on their vision, so they can't.
Okay, so Trisha asked a great question.
Yeah. So it says be quiet because we want to have them have a sense of normalcy. You normally would never be able to get this close to an eagle, and so as we're walking by, we just ask that you respect their space and be quiet. They're also sometimes on their eggs and on their nest, and it would be bad for them to have to force to jump off or be startled off their nest, because as you might know, it sometimes takes you a little bit of energy to get moving in the morning. It might take them some energy, and as you saw a little bit earlier, they're not the most graceful anymore because of those wing injuries. So we don't want them to jump off and crash in the ground because they're startled by a big group coming up and being loud.
Hi, Jonathan Jackson.
JJ,
Nice to see you. Not see you.
hear
You're
from
up.
you.
All right, so you guys are getting great questions coming in. Mandy wants to know, do you know why we see so many this time of year? Excellent question. All right, what time of year is it? It's spring now.
Yeah.
So we're at the end of nesting, like sledges ready.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite yet.
Not quite yet.
They
It
just
depends on
hatch.
where you're at in the country.
Yeah.
If it's the Mandy Mow that I'm thinking of, they're close to rivers, and so in the winter all the eagles congregate along the rivers, and because of this, they're going to be seeking out a food source. And if the rivers are kind of frozen over or they're slushy, you might need to find an open area of water, and so they'll all condense. And then as they move around, because they do a bit of migration as well, they might condense in those areas even more. So we're going to see lots of numbers along waterways, especially this time of year.
In Chatham County, we are in Chatham County, we have the largest population, breeding population of bald eagles in the state of Georgia. So they all come back for the winter. They're smart. They come here when it's nice and cool and there's not so many bugs. I mean, tourists. And 'cause they really are timid by people. And then they will take off and head to their summer grounds in a while. Some not too far. Some will maybe just go upstate Georgia, and some might head up further north, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Bethany, hello, Bethany. Thanks for joining us.
I think what's amazing about that too is their range, their geographic range. At one point in time, there was only about as many nesting pairs in the whole entire United States as there is now in Georgia. So if you think about that, that's pretty amazing. We were down to about 1,000 individual bald eagles at one point in time because of lots of different things, but mainly a pesticide called DDT.
All right. Ray Lynn, how high do they fly?
Ooh.
I've read 3,000 meters to feet to. Can you do that? Maybe you guys can do that. Okay. About a mile and a half, maybe?
Yeah, a mile and a
something
half,
like that. A mile and a half high. But so they could probably go higher than that. But they say that they can see a rabbit from up 3,000 meters high. So I don't know exactly. Do you have any stats on how high they fly?
No, I don't.
So they do this thing like vultures do called kettling.
Yeah.
And they'll ride the thermal airs. The air warms up, it rises, and they'll rise up with it. And so they can get really high up there without even flying, with just the air rising up. So we're going to have some, you guys can Google it if you want, or we can have our search at people looking.
Where's Mount Everest?
Mount Everest in Alaska?
No, Mount Everest.
Mount Everest, Himalayas.
So the Himalayan mountains, when they fly over the Himalayan mountains, every once in a while they'll hit birds with planes that are flying over the Himalayan mountains. So birds can go very high. That's like...
That's a bald eagle.
Probably a big wingspan.
Yeah, migrating birds.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have some questions that I'm trying to... Charlene, how big can they get? Okay, so that, again, Mr. Eric kind of talked about that.
Here, let's talk about how quickly they grow.
Well, okay.
So this is a bald eagle egg from 2016, and a baby hatches out of this, very, 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 very small, right? And that egg turns into a baby chick. That baby chick, when it leaves the nest, is almost full grown. So that's pretty amazing to think about it. It gets to 6 to 8 pounds from this size when it leaves the nest. In a matter of 3 months, 3.5 months.
3 months.
Yeah, amazing to think about.
Yeah,
amazing.
And so, and Mr. E was talking a little bit about Bergman's rule and how if you go up to Alaska or Canada, you'll find really big eagles, and then down further to the equator, they get smaller in size. So that has to do with your surface area to volume, and the bigger your surface area to volume, usually the less heat you lose. And if you're up in northern climates, northern latitudes, you don't want to lose your heat, right? You want to hold it in because these are warm-blooded animals. So they minimize that ratio by getting bigger. Now, if that blows your mind, think about a polar bear. They're huge, right? They're up in the Arctic regions. And then if you come down further south, have you ever seen a Mexican sun bear? They're like little tiny bears as tall as me. And they're like closer to the equator. So you can find the instances in a species like that all around. So eagles are definitely, their sizes change depending on where you are, where you live.
The question about do we have any other species of eagle, that's kind of, it's a little bit hard to say because we used to have, and I think that there might be one pair of golden eagles in the state of Georgia.
I know they've been spotted.
They've been spotted here. We should have golden eagles. This is their typical range, but they are also hit very hard. by DDT and their population has dropped. They need even more air because they're a larger eagle than a bald eagle.
Okay, Finnegan asked a good question. Going back to size.
Yeah.
Finnegan wants to know who's bigger, the boy, the girl, or why. Okay, let me give you a review.
No, I don't want.
I'm going after. I'm the girl, and I want to bully the boy. So who's gonna be bigger?
Ladies.
Yeah. So the females are usually they can be up to 25% bigger than the male. Now sometimes you'll come here and it'll be hard to tell. Unless they're side by side, and then you can kind of get a good visualization on it. You can see Francesca's larger than Arnold, and it might be a little different in this situation because I don't know, genetics and whatever.
Yeah, we don't actually know like a lot about their history before they came to Oatland. So Francesca could be a migrating bird that was bigger, and Arnold could be a smaller bird that's a localized bird that doesn't do much migrating. So he might be a migrating bird that's bigger because now they're closer in size. So we don't know a lot about them before they come to Oatland. We just usually know how they were injured and how long they've been here.
And guess what, friends?
No, this is good.
Francesca's more talkative.
Yeah.
The girls are usually a little more vocal.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, and that call that you hear might sound a little bit weird. It's kind of this raspy, kind of cackling giggle that they have. I think of them as sounding like hyenas almost. And that sound is actually not good enough for our national symbol. So in all the movies that you see, when you see an eagle and you hear an eagle call, it's actually a red-tailed hawk that's calling, not an eagle. They dubbed the red-tailed hawk sound in there because their song is like a more majestic, long, beautiful cry.
That's a red tail. Raylan asked a great question. She says, why are they called bald eagles when they actually have feathers on their head? So our languages changes, right? Our words change a lot. And so in the old days when our settlers, when our first founding fathers were here, the word bald meant white. And piebald, the word piebald, maybe you've heard of the Pied Piper or pied, that word comes and it means mottled black and white, like a black and white. So the bald eagle is a white-headed eagle. And then that gives us to our scientific name. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but we'll repeat it. It's got a mouthful here. Haliaetus leucocephalus. And this means haline is salty environment. Aetus, eating something from the salty environment. Can you guess what it is? You do. And leuco means white also, and cephalus means head. So it's the white-headed eagle, bald.
Yeah.
The bald eagle.
Yeah. Quick eagle.
Yeah. All right. Good questions coming in. You guys are really nailing them. So we talked about our 3 traits that make them a raptor. So they have a sharp curved beak. What do you think that sharp curved beak does for them? He's giving you a clue. All right. And you probably know the answer. It's probably coming in. They use it to rip and tear food into bite. They don't bite. Swallow-sized pieces.
Yeah.
They swallow whole. Yeah. And then the other one someone said is they have sharp talons. And I have a model of a talon. It's a replica right here. So this, you don't want to be grabbed by that. No way. So this, in addition to their pressure that they can assert on their prey items, Mr. E is going to do a little demo and show you how much pressure that they can, how they can put on a prey item. Amy Capello, hello. Thank you for watching us. We're appreciative of you. Some books to read. We do have a Jean Craighead George book that we could recommend for, you know, like first through 4th grade maybe.
Yeah.
Book. Forgot the title of it, but we'll put it on the link. We'll put it on the links. Eric, what are you doing? What's that thing you have?
This is a really cool tool that measures grip strength and how much pressure you can put. Basically PSI, pounds per square inch. It's called a dynamometer, dynamometer. I don't know how you say it exactly. But basically you input some information and I'm set it for my age. And I'm going to grip down on this and I'll show you guys what I do in pounds, and then we'll compare it to what our eagles can do by their grip strength on their talons. So oh, I didn't start it. Try to squeeze it. Oh, I do use 2 hands.
One hand, Eric.
Okay. So that's 64.6 pounds.
You did better earlier.
Let's try again. That was on kilograms. That's why it seemed big.
Oh, here we go. Do the math.
Okay. 121 pounds. So an
Okay.
eagle can do about 10 times that on their feet.
Math problem.
And you think about their slippery skin of their prey. They want to pierce through that skin quickly and hold onto them tightly. So if you ever tried to grab a fish before, you know it's pretty hard. They grab them out of the water, literally. So they have to grab really quickly those sharp, curved talons.
All right. So hi, Courtney. Thanks for joining us. Hope your family's with you. Hello, everybody. Okay, so we are. We did the eyesight. We
Yeah.
talked a little bit how far they can see. I believe we did. We talked about their attributes, talons and
Yep.
beaks.
Yep. We should ask them what they want to see tomorrow.
We have one last question, and then we'll ask about what we see tomorrow. So this is our last question. Alicia, can an eagle pick up a toddler?
Oh.
Depends on the toddler.
No. So a baby human, even a very, very small baby, cannot be picked up by a toddler. There were eagles.
By a toddler.
Did I say that backwards?
Yeah.
Toddler's way too much for an eagle to pick up. How about that? So an eagle can only pick up about maybe a third of their body weight. Maybe half if they're lucky. So
Maybe a chihuahua.
when they grab a prey item, they're going to fly to a safe place and eat that prey item. They're not going to carry it for long distances because they're really struggle to carry heavy things.
And I want everyone out there to realize that eagles are very timid of human beings.
Yeah.
They don't like to be around humans at all. So if you have a chihuahua in the backyard, or if you have, just keep a human presence around. They're not going to come around. They're not going to sneak in while you're in the yard with them, unless of course they're starving and there's problems. But you really don't need to worry about eagles at all. You should just be excited and grateful. Abigail and Owen, awesome.
Yeah.
That says Peyton.
So if you want to
Peyton.
know about an eagle that could maybe take humans away, you can read about and research the Haas eagle. The Haas eagle was in the area of the Moa Islands where they had these big, huge birds, and that was their prey item. So they grew to a larger size so they could kill these large prey items. So check them out, Haas eagle.
Okay, so we want your suggestions for next installment will be on Monday next week. So you're going to join us at 11 o'clock next week, and we want to know what animal you would like us to go to next week. It'd probably be just me, Miss Seashell, but we might be able to pull in another player here. Mr. E works Saturday, so he won't be in on Monday.
Be sure to follow Foo as well on the Facebook page. You'll get notifications. You can also see all the resources that we post, videos. We also have a lesson plan we're going to post about the strength of the talons and PSIs for you guys to check out. So we're excited to keep this going, and we'd love to hear more ideas from you. So if you want to see something or you have an idea for a video, reply to this video or send us a direct message. We'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Talk, do. We want to fly like an eagle to the sea. I'm putting an earworm in your ears.
No.
Fly like an eagle.